Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, and turn on notifications so that you will receive alerts when there are new episodes. Go get it.
Yeah. Listen, success is whatever you make it. If you want to be happy, you want to provide for your family.
Live.
You got to put that work in, man. You got to go get
Learn.
it. See, listen, this is what I tell them.
Serve.
I've been grinding for so long, I wake up and chase my goals.
Inspire.
I go out and I go get it. How to go,
You're in the
that's
right
all I know. I
place.
don't
You're
succeed
checking
if I
out
don't breathe.
Chip
Success,
Baker,
what does it
the
mean?
Success
If I
Chronicles.
conquer all my goals, then I'm living out my dream. Dig deep, go out and get it. Success Chronicles. Compete until it's finished. Success Chronicles.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Chip Baker coming to you with another episode of the Success Chronicles. And today, I'm excited to have Miss Montse Azaguirre with us, coming to us from Australia, Brisbane, Australia. A great lady doing some great things. She helps professionals accomplish stress management using mindfulness and doing some awesome things. And I'm so thankful to have her on this episode of the Success Chronicles. So first, thanks so much.
Thank you. I'm so privileged to be on your show. Thank you, Chip.
All right, well, let's get it. So
Yeah.
let's dive into it. If you don't mind, talk to us about your life story and track your story till now.
Yes, thank you. So, I actually started out in a very different part of the world in a sense that I worked in television for 20 years. As soon as I was 19, I was in college, university, and something just clicked and I just loved it. So I fell in love with television, and it was never a difficult thing for me. So, I mean, television is a very stressful place. You can be, you were working 12, 14 hours a day on really big shows. The last shows I was doing was The Voice, which you guys have over there as well. And I worked with lovely Keith Urban and Ricky Martin and Seal. And it was such a brilliant show. But when I had my children, sadly, I actually went through some postnatal anxiety. The issue was, though, for me, I recognized that the postnatal anxiety was actually coming from the fact that I felt compromised. I had compromised so many parts of me when I became a wife and a mother that I forgot who I was. So those 20 years when I was working in television, I knew who I was. I woke up every morning and I knew that this was my journey. I was to get in there and make a new TV show today and work with my great teams and take care of my crew. But when I became a mother, I'm a person that I go 110% into something. And so I threw myself into that, being a wife and a mum. I thought, this is it. Okay, Montse, you have to make sure you're the perfect wife and the perfect mother and have the perfect house and have the best meals ever. But that just drew from me, and I had nothing left. So postnatal anxiety hit really hard, or postpartum, as they say in the US, and I couldn't leave the house. I literally was frozen with fear. So unlike postpartum depression, that's kind of like having those deep blues where you just really don't know where to go and you're feeling really down, postpartum anxiety is basically you're on 24-hour call. So my doctor described me as being a German Shepherd on guard duty all the time, right? I was like, thank you. And so I was so fearful. I lived in fear the whole time. And I just didn't want to do that anymore. I had been such an independent person. I traveled around the world by myself. I had lived alone for a decade before my husband, I met him. I'd moved states by myself. It was something that was so unusual for me to just find myself fearful all the time. So I've looked up how to fix anxiety. Mindfulness and meditation clicked up. So meditation had been something I had been doing quite a while before, but the combination was incredible for me. Now, obviously, nothing fixes something really quickly, but it allowed me to have a gentle ease out and through it.
That's awesome. It's crazy um, all of that stuff. If we're gonna do something, be the best at it.
Yes.
And I'm with that. And sometimes we can get caught up in the rat race of making sure that everything is perfect. But really, at the end of the day, none of us are perfect. There's no perfect situations.
No.
All we have to do is just do the best we can do.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's very difficult though, when you are used to being, we're used to kind of driving at that really fast pace all the time. I mean, my parents actually had to force me to take a 6-week holiday between shows because I would literally go back to back to back to shows. And my family said, you need to take a break out. This is before I met my husband. This is about 8 years ago. They said you need time out. So it was probably something that was coming along the way. And then when the boys came, my children, it just kind of like last punch to the head.
Yeah. Well, what are 3 things you accomplished in your life that you're proud of?
Well, my children, absolutely. They've been the catalyst for this new part of my life. And also they're extraordinary. They're the sweetest, kindest little boys that I ever thought I could have. And they're so intuitive and they're sweet to me. Like they're all the things that I needed as a mum and someone going through this, I was given through them. Like they're little angels, honestly. I mean, they're children, so they're naughty and all those other things. But they have like just this innate kindness, which most children have anyway. But so they're definitely my top number 1 thing. But my number 2 and 3 are very connected. And that is because when I'm down, my mum and dad always said, get back up. And so when I was down in any part of my life, I would just say, you know what, I can do this better. So, for example, one of my greatest accomplishments, which actually never happened, this is a funny story, is that I wrote, directed and produced a adventure pilot show for National Geographic because I love doing that. I was surrounded by lots of adventurers. And so I created this pilot. We made the whole show and funded it myself. And I, went to National Geographic and I said, would you like this show? And they didn't like the way that we'd made it. And so they rejected it. And I broke my heart because one of my mentors is actually the head of National Geographic. And seeing his face so disappointed made me say, right, I'm going to do the next thing even better. So that, even though it wasn't a success, it was a success in the sense that it made me get that fire again.
Yeah.
So when it came to mindfulness, I thought, right, this time I'm going to do it and I'll do it my way. Because unfortunately, when you give your dreams to other people to help you with, they don't always get it. Right? And so I did that with that show. I gave it to other people to take care of and nurture at the end, and I shouldn't have. I could have just done it myself. And even if it was a little bit less elegant in the procedure, I could have probably given it my all. And so my, biggest success is getting back up again. And I think you just have to try that. Look, life is a huge journey, right? And so it's never going to be this quick, run this race and you're done. It's just not that. So you have to keep getting up.
I love that. Getting back up again. And we're going to continue to get knocked down in our life. We just have to grow through what we go through. So
Absolutely.
On the other side of it, we're better and we can be better for the others that we love and care about.
Yes, absolutely. I love that.
Thank you. Well, let's hit on success. What is your definition of success?
Oh, gosh. Okay. So if you'd asked me this 10 years ago, success would be working on the biggest shows ever. And I did do that. I worked on, The Voice and The Biggest Loser. So I've done that. But now, having gone through postnatal anxiety and gone through just anxiety in general, and having a little bit more wisdom, because sometimes you need to have a little more wisdom to find out what true success is. For me, being successful in my life, because I'm only running my race, is being kind to myself. It's actually liking who I am, looking in the mirror and liking who I am, and saying to myself, you can do this, and believing in myself. So it's actually having the self-esteem and the belief system to say, no matter what, sister, we got this.
Yeah. I love it. Period. I love it. I'm running my race. That's good.
Yeah.
And we can't get caught up in how others are running their race. We have to really just focus in on our race and do the best that we can with the thing that we have.
Absolutely, because you are unique. Every single one of us is this beautiful stardust, and we've just dropped into this world to do something specific. And it could be, and I say this to people, to friends of mine, you could just be the best friend ever to someone, and that's your journey. You know, you could be the most incredible parent, and that's your journey. Because it doesn't have to be these big things that Instagram and social media, you know, try and tell you, and that the media tell you. Because, I mean, I worked in television, you know, I know what we do. And, you know, we try and build up even shows like The Voice. You know, for all the people that went on it, only one person won it each year. So every other person had a journey along that way. And so it's so important to remember that you are running your race, no one else's.
I love that. Well, before we get off, if you don't mind sharing with the audience where they can go follow you and check you out and show you some love.
Yes, thank you. So my website is mindfulliving.com, and that's L for extra love.
I love it.
And we're at Montse Mindful Living at Instagram as well. So we also have at the moment, I've just created the one and only course that I have there at the moment, and that's for self-esteem. So mindfulness for self-esteem, because just before the COVID-19 chapter happened, I had worked with some women who are vulnerable and from domestic violence. And the one thing that came out of that whole session was the fact that their self-esteem had been boosted. And I thought, well, that's me then. That's where I want to go. So if anyone needs some help with their self-esteem, man or woman, it doesn't matter. Mindfulness and being mindful in your life can help you.
That's awesome. Well, again, I want to say thank you so much for taking the time to interview with the Success Chronicles. Truly appreciate it, and I wish you continued success.
Thank you, Chip, and you too. Thank you so much.
All right. Well, thank you guys for checking out this episode. We'll see you next time. God bless. Go get it.